Alright, and we are live. So, I'm just gonna share the stream here real quick. There. All right. So let's see. Right. So last time we left off with investigating a crash, which was very interesting. Which seem to only happen sometimes, and I think I figured out when this happens. So the crash was basically, I think I can show you here if I start the game and show it here. So basically it's when we spawn a bunch of monsters there. And yeah, I have a lot of debug messages going on here to kind of find whatever is happening. And it turns out that I was kind of right in the assessment I made last time, which was that it had to do with, well, of course, yeah, it had to do with the ECS system and spawning new entities and stuff. The real issue that I found out here was that we got a seg fault when trying to access, if you see the address here, it's a hexamal here, D2 or 2D-A4-DD51, and which is the same start as this one, 2D-A4-DD51. It's also the same for this one, 2D-A4-DD51, and this one has 3BO, which is the starting address for the player structure. This one has E00. This one is the seg fault occurs at 480, which is, I'm guessing, part of the player address here, and which means that this one is invalid. And why is that? Well, when you add new components to the to a list or to the ECS system, they use, I can show you here, they use a array list. So if we go to the culprit, which is yeah, it's this one, spawn monster particles. So let's say we wanna add a rigid body here, which happens in the actual here. It happens here. So let's see, where is that? Here, registry add. So this is, we're adding a new rigid body into the ECS system, and what it does is, first it assures that we have the storage container for that specific component, and then it adds, so this is the library that I'm using here, and then it calls add on that, which simply yeah, it uses this one because it's not an empty struct. So the it uses append, which is just a normal, you know, array list. And so what happens is, if you go in here and see this, it even says in the comments here, invalidates element pointers if additional memory is needed. So it means that you have a list which has allocated in on the heap at a certain capacity, but when you reach the end of that capacity, we need to reallocate the list to a larger capacity in order to accommodate for the new element. So what happens is all the existing pointers that you're trying to use for from this list gets invalidated. Well, they may get invalidated unless if there's if the address gets well, it's undefined behavior basically. So it gets reallocated to a place where you can accommodate for the new elements, and that means that when we do things where we do here in the monster update, here we grab the player body from in the start, and then we use that while we're updating all the monster stuff. And in this loop we're actually creating new rigid bodies which may then invalidate this pointer. So that was the whole issue that we ran into there. So that's one thing to keep in mind of. And because of this complex structure, a lot of things were happening in this loop. It took a while to actually find the issue here. But with a bit of logging and figuring stuff out, I was able to actually find why this happens. And well, SIG has a lot of safety when it comes to like mutability and stuff like that, but when it comes to pointers, when using pointers and stuff, you're always suspect to these kinds of problems where your pointer can point at any invalid memory, and a pointer may be invalidated at any time basically. So you have to sort of manually keep track of what you're doing is defined behavior basically. So in this case I used this pointer, and then I didn't realize that this was happening, and it actually invalidates it. And probably it would have been good if the library actually said here that this may invalidate previous pointers of this type, because this I might have this in previous places also, where you're grabbing a pointer out from this type of component, you're adding something else, and then you're trying to use it, and it crashes. So at least now we are aware that this could happen. So that's very good. Now, in order to fix this problem, well, one easy way to fix it would be to just grab the player body whenever we need it, instead of grabbing it once here and then using this invalid like undefined behavior pointer. We could do that, or you could also get rid of the places where we actually spawn, which was my approach at first. But that is also kind of weird because I mean, yeah, now we have a spawn step, so, but it sort of limits the way you can do things in the engine. But what we want to do, we probably want to have more sophisticated spawn system, because right now we can only spawn these different types of things. And what ended up happening here is we tried to spawn these, we tried to use these particles, spawn particles, which actually just spawns a thing straight off. And maybe what we want to do is, well, one thing maybe which would fix this problem also is that well, instead of adding a rigid body, we could add something else. We could add like just a lighter version of like a transform component or something like that, that will sort of say what the position is for this thing. But that would require some extra infrastructure there. Instead, I would like to have this type of thing being able to be spawned from the spawn system instead, which would fix this issue, because then you're not. But another issue is also like it's not only spawning new entities that's the issue. It's whenever you actually just add a new component, that's gonna be an issue, because that might invalidate old pointers. So it's almost like if you want to do something with this system, or you want to grab and do something with a component, you have to be aware of the scope that you're in. So if you add a new component, then, or you want to do something with, you want to mutate some component, you have to basically grab it straight off and grab a fresh pointer from the registry each time in that case, unless you're like just, you know, that it's not a multi-threaded application, so you could, if you're aware of the scope of what's happening in your scope, then you could do several things at one time. But generally you would probably want to grab the fresh pointer instead of keeping a pointer. But I think it's also not really an issue most of the time, but yeah, it's something to be aware of. And I'm sure there's other places where this type of problem could creep up on you. But yeah, we will get there if we get there. So but it doesn't feel good that, you know, we have maybe some type of issue where that could happen. So maybe we want to do things a little bit differently and get another pattern incorporated maybe. But anyway, let's see if we can just solve this issue now and be on our way. So it would be nice to have this in the spawn system. The spawn system right now basically only has, yeah, this is the spawn component which determines how to spawn the thing, and we only have like scene entity and spawn reason. Maybe spawn monster particles could be its own thing. Where was that? Yeah, it's in here, and it needs the entity, animation key, and T. Yeah, so it's basically like grabbing an animation from the same animation instance as the monster, and then spawning a particle from that. Well, it's not really a real like particle system. It's using just the entity system to spawn the sort of a particle animation. So we're basically spawning an entity and setting the animation to that thing, and I'm using ECS to handle the life cycle and stuff, which works pretty well. So let's see. I mean, one easy way to do it would be to have this as a union enum instead. You could do that. So you could have, well, actually, what about this? You have type, which is spawn type. Well, this is a union, is a tagged enum. And then you have scene entity, which is this. And then you have particle, like particle animation, I guess you can call it. And this one would be whatever we need to pass into here. So we need the entity, we need the animation key. So particle animation, let's just make one. So we need the entity and animation key. All right. So now we can actually move this function to here, and we'll just use that instead. Let's import some stuff. Application instance. Death component. Rigid body. Physics. Scale. You know what? We're never gonna actually use this scale, so let's just put one there. Okay. Yes. So now let's see. So yeah. So now we can get rid of this one. And we'll do spawn type here instead. Alright. And then I guess the reason could be moved to this. There we go. Well, now it's actually just a union in itself, I guess. Yeah, okay. Let's just do this, and then we can do this. There we go. And so now we are initializing. So, but how would we do that now? I guess we don't have an initialize function for this. We could have one for these. Or we just don't have one, or whatever. Okay. Now down here we should oh yeah, we could actually just move this now. I'm thinking of reorganizing the systems and components also. But not right now. Let's see here. So yeah, we're going through all the spawn components and we're just calling spawn. Here we actually want to do a switch. So we switch on S and we get yeah, we don't okay, so we don't get errors here because the thing doesn't understand what's happening, the LSP. Okay, if it's this one, then we do spawn. Okay, and then here we do spawn monster particles. And there we go. All right. Okay, so now we can actually, let's also move this up here. Do that. We'll create a thing there. What we want to do also, we want to go to utils, which has create entity for spawning. We want to have a similar one for the particles. So create. This should really maybe be in the spawn. Whatever. Create particle animation. For spawning, whatever. And then this one would be the entity and the animation key. Okay. So create an entity. We need to fish. We need to do this. This is a particle animation, and it is entity is and yeah, animation key. There we go. Okay, and then we need to fix this one as well. There we go. Okay, so now we can use this function instead of spawning the thing directly. So let's search for spawn monster particles. And yeah, here we're trying to use that. So let's do utils. Create animation, particle animation. Don't need, well, we do need a registry, that's right. We don't need T. Okay. We don't need U either. We don't need utils here, which we have. This one is also create particle animation. There. And here as well. There we go. And that was it. Alright, so let's see here what's happening. Oh, this is EF entity. Okay, now let's start this because this should get rid of the error, hopefully. It is a sort of a weird race condition, but it doesn't seem to happen. We get some weird delay on the first ones, like the ones at the closest to the player. Yeah, okay, that seems to have fixed the issue here. Cool. So yeah, so now we spawn these particles in a separate step, which well, particles, we spawn this animation in a separate step which avoids the pointer from invalidating. So that's nice. So, but as I said, invalidation could still happen at some point when you use a pointer to a component and then you add the same type of component into the component list, which may invalidate earlier, like previous components. So, or pointers. But yeah, cool. So we fixed that. So let's see, let's just note here that we fixed it by spawning, being able to spawn particle animations in the spawn system instead creating them directly in the loop. Okay, cool. Now what? What do we do now? Oh yeah. Wait, so I think I did this one. And yeah. So now, I was thinking about player abilities. Let me think a little bit here. We could also try to do some maps. Let's see. Yeah, so let's go back here. Okay. Wait. Oh yeah, this is the... No, wait, this is... No, this is the other map. Here's the one. Oh yeah, yeah. So we're not gonna have these right now. Okay. So, yeah. This is the entrance. There. Oh, why is that animation so quick now? Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's actually see the other 8 animations also. No, those are... It's only that one which is... Huh. Maybe it is just... like that. Okay. Okay. Well, let's continue here. So... I think at some point I'm gonna change the graphics or maybe do new monsters for this type of area, because you can kind of see very well where they are. Also, this monster, I need to tweak this monster because I don't really like how it works, but yeah, I need to figure out something more with that. Okay, let's just pretend that this is fine and we'll make another area. So let's go to here and we will create a new area, and I think Let me grab my map here. I had a map of the first area. Forest map. Yeah, here you can see kind of a preliminary sketch on maybe the structure of the first area. And the idea is that it's going to be a foresty sort of region with a little bit of variation. So you have a mound area, which is like underground. You have the ground level here, and then you go up to a little hill, and then you have also a tree area. So the idea is that you go into maybe the trunk of a tree and go inside, and you do a bunch of stuff inside here. So half of the map is sort of like in the forest outside of the tree, and then half the map here is like in a tree area where you meet the boss and everything, get like an upgrade and everything. So that was kind of the idea here. Not necessarily one-to-one with how the rooms are laid out here, but sort of like the overall structure of the map. And what we have right now is probably just this part right here, and maybe this one. But then I added a little transition here because we are getting to the hill, and we're getting to more maybe of the sort of dead part of the forest. Let's see, and we don't have anything graphics wise for the mound either. So, but yeah, we do sort of have this one because we have a thing that goes up and down and up and down, and there's an entrance here and an entrance here. So now, okay, so now we're on this part. So we need to make a map that is kind of more vertical, that goes up, climbing up a hill, sort of. So let's increase the... So let me hide GIMP here. Let me increase this for a bit here. Maybe 35. I don't know. Let's just try and make a outline. So we'll come in. So it's gonna be going down as well, sort of in the same map. So we might actually increase this even more, and we'll come in like from here, and then there's something that lets us go down. So let's just make that a thing there, but we don't really have that right now. 1 second here. Excuse me, I just got a call there. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so we'll just have something where we move upwards. Let's just have, I don't know, classic little platforming. So you can, at the start you can jump 3 high. So this would be like this. So let's say you go in here and then maybe there's a little thing here. Okay, I'll just make a border, I guess. It's also, yeah, I would rather have like this wall here so that you don't expect to be able to walk that way. Okay, and also let's make a little bit of thing there. Okay, and then over here we have, might have like a platform over there. Over there. Let's make the, well, we'll save this to what we call this, hill entrance, or forest hill entrance. Maybe I'll put like identifying like A1, B1s, you know, A2, something like that, to sort of more easily identify which one it is and more easily name these things. Okay, let's, no, not the tile. Let's go to scene editor and we'll do new scene. Oops. New scene. Set the tile map to this one. Okay, and we'll make the entrance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and this one is gonna be this one. And entrance key is going to be what is that? It's gonna be left, yes. Should really make this into a what do you call it? More integrated in the editor here instead of just having it as metadata, but whatever. Right now doesn't matter that much. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna save. I'm gonna set. Yeah, this is Forest Hill Entrance. I'm gonna set the height to be an odd number because whoops. Oh, I forgot to squash the history, so this is gonna take forever. And the reason is that you saw that when we add the entities, they are being added at a weird sort of offset. But if you have an odd width or height, or and height, is gonna be centered correctly at the actual tile. Okay, let's squash the history and then save, so we don't get. We still need to optimize the history, which is why it takes a long time to save there. Okay. Now we need to move this again. Oh, now we get some weird offset like this. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's no. Delete. So here's the player. This one is start. This one is right. Okay, now we can actually play this level. There we go. And we can go over here. And let's also fix, oops. Oh yeah, we need an exit here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the target is hill entrance. And the entrance key is right. There we go. So now we can start here and we can move our way over. And we can get here as well and we can move back. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's use white for these so we can see, because it's quite dark. Okay. I'm just gonna do, maybe we'll do something like this. Like you jump up there. And then 1, 2, 3 over there maybe. Then all the way over there. And then all the way back up there. So you can jump, I don't know. Doesn't always have to be like 3 over. Okay. Something like that maybe. And then I don't know what will be over here. We'll just make it like that for now. Yeah, I'm not really inspired right now for making this map, so maybe it's not a good idea. I just want something that it's, I mean, the some sort of shape that lets you get up there. Also, we don't really have a good way to exit the level or enter the level in this kind of weird vertical thing. You don't carry momentum when you enter a new area, which is something that I guess we need to work on. But let's add a entrance over here. This would be, let's call it top. Yeah, let's just move through this to see if we can actually go through here. I think you should be able to make this jump here, yeah. Wait, why can't I do this? Okay, there we go. Yeah. Oh, we can actually jump up here as well. But we'll make an exit there. But now we want to make a new tile map. Like make a new thing there, new thing here. Okay, so now we are doing the hill thing. So let's make this a little bit wider. So we'll come from down here. Let's also make this nothing. That was 4 wide, yeah. And then an opening over here. So this opening is gonna go into the tree actually. So this part is actually the tree over here. Okay. This is forest, tree, and or hill. I guess we could call it just hill. And we'll go back to the scene editor and also save this forest hill. And yeah, I'll just set that to be sure that it is there. Let's put the start here. And then let's actually put the thing here, because we don't have like a carry momentum thing so that you can actually get up here by jumping, you know, up and pushing to the right or something like that. You're actually just gonna start at 0 velocity and fall down. So let's actually have that there. And let's call this down because you're coming from below. Okay, and then we'll have an exit. And this is gonna be a bit tricky. I guess we could have several exits. And yeah, let's just move them down like that. So that you cannot like you know, jump and miss the exit here. So the target is the entrance. And entrance key is up or top. Oops, but then I should call this turn bottom instead. Okay, this one is bottom. There we go. Okay. So if we start here, we should be getting down there. Yeah. Okay, so now we can go here and we can add an exit here as well. Let's do like this maybe. And also I want to add a feature here where you can have one entity and you can actually scale it so we don't have to define 4 different of these. But yeah, not right now, I guess. So this would be hill. I'm just trying to fill out the map a little bit so that it feels like, you know, you're getting somewhere here. And then here we're gonna have entrance key top or bottom. There we go. Save that. Okay. So now we can go to this scene and we'll start here. And you can go down and you can go up. Cool. And you can see here we don't really, there's not like I think it would be cool if we could, the way we transition is like if you transition over here you are put to the left. if you transition over here, you're put to the right as well. So maybe the entrance, the size of the exit should match sort of the size of the entrance, and then you can sort of translate where the player would end up and carry the momentum, and maybe even give the player some momentum depending on sort of the layout of the thing. Yeah. All right. Oops, what happened? Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out now what to do here. So let's go here again. Did we connect these two? I think so, yeah. Now we're connected all the way over there. Yeah. I was thinking, maybe we could do something with this rock once it's done. I can sort of like farm it or do something. I'm not sure how I want sort of the inventory to be in this game yet. If it's gonna be like a lot of different items, or like, yeah, if it's gonna be like you're gonna, I mean, it's personally I like it when you're sort of looting the monsters. When you're killing them, you have to pick up whatever they drop, but then you have to say, okay, what should they drop then? Should they drop money, or I mean, maybe like monster parts that you can do something with, like, yeah, I don't know. Also, it's interesting, the FPS now is like 1000. When we go in here, it's like drops considerably. And now it drops like a lot. It would be interesting to see if we could profile this and see where the culprit is. You see, for each entity, I think that we're dealing with, it should go down, right? Now it's at, yeah, it goes way up once you kill the entities. So they really affect the FPS a lot here. All right. Well, what else can we do here? Let's go to here. So I was thinking maybe I should spend some time on working on the editor. Would really like to have some stuff there, like the one with the entrance stuff, like being able to scale an entity, or at least the exit and entrance entities. That would be kind of cool to do. That would require some defining some specific controls for those types of things, like being able to scale a thing by dragging. Maybe we can start with defining the size, and then you can add like dragging later, scaling by dragging. Yeah. So we do have, here's the scene document, and yeah, the entities here right now, they only have like position and type and metadata. So maybe we could add a scale vector, perhaps. Maybe that could be something here. Oh, we already have like different things for these, so these could actually have a scale themselves. Because right now it doesn't make sense to scale a monster or scale an NPC or something like that. It only makes sense to scale exits and entrances right now. So I'll just add them here. So let's just add a scale, which is a vector. But this is not a integer vector. We'll make this a vector of f32. And same thing here. So this one would be yeah, just the same thing. Yeah. The issue now is that, which we're gonna keep coming up to again and again here, is that when we edit these things, they are gonna change the definition of the JSON files that we already have out. So that we have saved. So either we have to remake everything, which seems like a bad idea, or we do some sort of upgrade thing, or we could make these nullable as well. I think that will actually also fix it. Maybe, I'm not sure actually. Well, let's just test it. Let's make this nullable and we'll just do this. Because I'm not sure if you actually have to define them in the JSON file. Okay, so we could still open the thing. So I think it works then. Cool. So because now we can add those without having to sort of remake or upgrade the JSON files. However, in the future, if we add something or like make a breaking change, then you would probably want to look into a versioning system where you upgrade the version from one version to the next. Like for example, here we have the scene entity exit, but it only stores the scene. So we need two things. We need the file name of the scene that we want to enter to, or exit to, and then we also need the key of the entrance. But we don't store that here. We store that in the metadata instead. But if we want to make a breaking change now, and let's say we want to add a key, which is not going to be nullable, then, well, it's actually, why is this nullable? Is it just because of the initial setting? Okay, but anyway, let's say it's not nullable, and then, well, this will break sort of reading in the JSON file because it will crash there. So we need to basically make an upgrade thing where you grab the previous version, you upgrade it to this version by grabbing out the metadata, grabbing the key from there, and then putting it into this new version there, which would be a solution to that problem. But then we would have to implement this whole versioning system thing though. But so you have to like consider, is it worth doing that? Probably in the long run. if we're gonna keep on sort of having this sort of iterative development, then it's probably worth it to do it like that, to make sort of infrastructure for versioning, for upgrading versions of the files. Okay, so anyway, now we have these. Let's do it like this instead. Okay, now how do we set it? So we need to go to the layout, and we need to go to the scene menu. So what I'm thinking is just adding a bunch like wait, what do we have? The entity details menu. We should add a a number input for the scale X and number for the scale Y. And here we have the entity. Here we have selected entity type. If it's an exit, we have target, we have entrance. So we should make, since it's going to be the same for both of them, let's make a sort of common thing for that. So let's make a scale input, and let's see what we need for that. But we need to actually, yeah, we need to make this function here. So let's do scale input. And I believe what we just need is this the number, like a pointer to the actual number itself. Wait, so we don't have, so oh yeah, here we go. So you can have int inputs, you can have float inputs, you can have two. I believe this would be like two floats in one. So let's say this, and then what is the arguments here? Okay, we need to go in here and see. So we have v is the thing, the vector there. I believe since it's an array like this, we can also cast it to from a vector to that if we need to. Okay, and then we have the C style format, I guess, here, which has 3 decimal places, I guess, and then flags, which is this part. So let's start with just putting, so we have v is going to be, no, this is not, this is vector to f32. Let's put that there and see what it's gonna say. Actually, we need this to be a pointer. And then what else did we have? Flags. Yeah, let's just do that and see how that will look. So here we're gonna put the scale. All right. Yeah. Oh, this is nullable. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's true. So let's oh, this is gonna be a bit tricky actually now. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go to our thing here. So we're defaulting it to null. However, this is we should probably default it to 1 1 here. so that it, yeah, that's the default. Yeah, and that's kind of like a version upgrade, you could say. You take it from the nullable, which don't exist, and you set it to 1 1 by default. So next time you want to save, this is gonna actually say 1 1, so it's gonna not be null. And then here we can always sort of assume that it's never gonna be null, so we can do this. Okay. Now what's going on here? Oh, this is has a bool. How we do things here. All right, so let's keep this pattern, I guess. And then if it's true, wait. Right, here we do like a action. We don't have that in the scene editor actually, so let's just ignore this. Oops. Yeah. Let's ignore the value. Okay. No more compiler errors, so let's try this now. And there you can see we have this scale thing here. And let's try and set this Y scale to 2. Okay. And then we save and we reload. And it's not saved. Okay. Why? Wait, do we have like a specific serialized or deserialized thing here? I don't remember. Probably don't. This is like serialized straight off, right? Wait, clone? Oh, we're not. Okay, let's just see if that was the issue. Yeah, okay, so it did save it correctly, but then when we load it, it cloned it back in incorrectly. So now this works. Let's do the same thing for the exit. Wait, no, for the entrance. There. Have to remember to do that. Okay. All right. So now, so we have the scale, it's saved, but now we're not really using it. So we want to use it in drawing the entities. So let's go here and here. Right, so here we have entrance and exit. The size is gonna change then. So the size is gonna be times. Wait, this is. Okay, let's do scaled size. Easier here. Size times because otherwise I have to like, if I put a thing here, it's gonna complain that, okay, I'll just show you here. If I say times, where is it? Exit. Oh, we don't have it. Scale. Then it's gonna complain because it doesn't know what is the resulting type here. So we have to put like as f vector to f32 like this. So now it knows the resulting type. But you could also say scale size equals size times exit scale, then use that instead, so you don't have to do all this stuff here. Okay. And then we'll use, wait, now we also need a size int as well. We need a scale size int. Yeah. So this one, yeah, int. So we're gonna do int from float scale. Okay. And then the size, we can actually do now scale size int instead. And size int, this is going to be scaled size int. And this one we don't need to change. And that should be fine. Okay, so now the exit should be cool. Wait, what's this? Okay, there we go. Right. So now, yeah, you can see it's actually scaled here by 2. If we change it back to 1, it's scaled. And we can scale it how we want. Okay, cool. Now, next step is, yeah, the selection box should also be scaled there. Let's actually scale this by, I don't know, 10, 20. Okay. Save. Then so we'll do the same thing here as well. And then here we just scaled. Yeah. And this would be entrance. There. Okay. I wonder if we could just use inline here. Inline exit. Yeah, I think that works. And then it has previous. So yeah, so you can do this if you have two sort of things that are similar, that you basically want to do the same thing. Actually, they are not exactly the same because we have different colors. But the color is the only thing. Okay, let's just do this. Let's do color equals to if what is it? Entity type equals to exit. Then it's gonna be white. Else it's gonna be yellow. So this is color is that. Okay, now we can. So we're sort of generalizing this sort of switch case here. So now we can say this is like either entrance or exit, even though LSP has seen entered exit here, but it doesn't support this. So both of them have scale, both of them are sort of exactly the same. So we have this exact same thing, except here where we actually do this. I wonder if this actually becomes comp time. No, now. Like technically, this could be comp time here. You could do type of E. Type of E should be possible to grab here. Yeah. Well, so that's kind of an optimization that you can do here, is like make this if into a comp time, so you don't have to do this runtime check, and that would actually end up in an optimization so that the color is defined at comp time and not at runtime. But anyway, yeah, so let's see how this looks now. So this should be both for an exit and entrance. So this is the entrance, and let's scale this by 2 as well. And there you go. That also works. Okay, cool. So now let's see if we can fix the selection box. So here we have selected entities. And here we have a thing that gets the rectangle. And we also have like a scale here. And let's do scale vector is entity type is equal to if entity type is equal to exit or entity type equal to entrance. Actually, what you could do is say if has declaration, if has field type of entity. No, because then we have to do a check here. Let's just do entity equals entity type equals exit or entity type. We could do a switch as well. So entity type. So we have inline, exit, entrance. We get that out. Whoops. And then this one would be scale. And then otherwise, this is going to be sort of the or else or otherwise thing. Otherwise, we're gonna have just a 1-1, and we'll define the type as well. We have to dereference there, or unwrap it there. Yeah, so now we can use this. So we'll also times this by scale v0 times this. Actually, couldn't we do X? We can do this, I think, as well. Yeah. So you can sort of destructure, you can say, the vector here, or the tuple, or the vector here. Cool. Yeah. So I don't really see anything. Oh. It's all the way down there. Okay, so I think this part should not be scaled. Then. Okay. So still not quite right. It's sort of offset a little bit. Looks like Right, this one should also... Oh yeah, wait. Okay, this one is the one that we should actually care about, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's actually do that here. So let's do scale. And then the size, which is a... Oh, this is a Rayleigh vector. Right. So let's actually make that mutable, and then size X is gonna be scaled here, and then size Y is also gonna be scaled. There we go. Okay, and then down here we can get rid of these now. Okay, so hopefully this will integrate it better without looking at the code too much here. Okay, there we go. And even, you know, when trying to select, when like clicking on it, it actually works now as well. Okay, cool. So yeah. Now I want to move this. So how would that work? It's sort of snapping to the actual bottom there of the thing. But I want to move this, so I want to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, cool. I will save that. The only thing now is that the game does not recognize that this is scaled. So when we try to play this, oh, it crashes as well. Oh, it's because we don't have this defined. Let's go to exit. Yeah, this needs a scale. So I'm just gonna assume that they exist now because I'm gonna go through each map and resave it so it gets like sort of upgraded here. Now this should play out here. Yeah. But if we go over to here, oh, I can't even. Did I move it too far? Oh, probably because the position is like up here somewhere. So we don't even. Let's actually test that. See if we can reach it from the platform up here. Oops, I think I went over the edge or something. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, we need to scale it also in the game now. So let's go to the game code and see where are we doing stuff with this. Over here. Right. Position, size, so we could basically just determine the size based on that as well. So if we just times this by the entity scale, or wait, well, we know this is an exit, so we can just do this. It's gonna be the same for entrance. Where is that? Wait. Oh, we don't have anything for entrances, I guess. Okay. Okay, something happened. Oh, we need to remove these debug messages as well. Error reading. Oh, I see. So yeah, so now we get this error because we're trying to go into a map that hasn't updated the scale thing. So we need to basically go in here. We need to go to the target scene, and we need to just save this, and then try this again. Oops. Got a little bit of weird input lag here now. What's happening? Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's try this. There we go. So yeah, so we do get here. The only thing now is like well, only thing, but the thing now is that I saw there was that this is this high. If you try to go here, it feels like you should end up at the same sort of position here, but you're not. If we scale this up, for example, by 20, so we scale this by the same size, and then I want to move this. So this is actually way longer as well. So maybe that is not possible in that case. So I'm not sure exactly how to fix this issue. But it really feels like you should be able, you should, like, if you jump into the next thing, you should be sort of positioned at the same place. Let's do this. Let's see how far we can scale this. Let's do 10. Let's do like 14. Okay, so 14 seems reasonable. And we also need to like manually drag it now for some reason. Because it's scaled like that. Okay. And we'll save that. I think now it's gonna spawn like in the center of it. Yeah. So what I want is to, when we transition, to keep sort of the relationship between this rectangle, the player position, against this rectangle here. Although this one should now be like 10, or I mean 14. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And let's save the, let's actually edit this one. Wait, why is this background? This should be foreground. Okay, whatever. Let's do, I don't know, where is it? Oh, it's already sort of at the top, so we don't really need to do anything. Okay, cool. Let's see. So in the game code, I need to sort of save where the player sort of collided with this thing. What is the player Y position related to this thing? And then in this one we need to grab the entrance position and restore the play position by that thing, same sort of position. So where did we do that? Let's go to update. Sort of the transition stuff. Where do we do that? Here, handle check exits. Yeah, and here we have the transition. And oh, I'm getting a phone call here, 1 second. Okay, yeah, I need to actually leave here, but yeah, it's nice to work on the editor for a change and to do some of these things. So I just put this into a to-do here somewhere. To-do, I'll put it here so we know where to look. When transitioning, restore player position relative to where the player exited. Yeah, I hope that would make sense. And I'm just gonna copy this, put this in a to-do somewhere. Yeah, I'll just put it here. Okay, so yeah, yeah, but that was good little session. I need to keep the momentum going with this. I feel like it's good to start working on it a little bit again. And it's nice that we fixed this crash here as well. That was it's always a bit scary when you reach into these weird crashes that only happen sometimes and you don't really know how to fix it, because it's like, oh my god, I have to tear down the entire house in order to actually find the cause of it. Hello. Not sure how to say your name. You're kidding. How's it going? I actually have to leave now. So, but hope you have a nice day. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. So thanks for anyone tuning in and watching, and yeah, have a nice day.